Hi guys, it's Paula and I hope you are doing well. This is going to be a get ready with me, very quick. I've already done most of my base makeup, but this was requested by one of you for me to demonstrate how I plan to use the products that I put in my 6 by Santa project for this year. Everything I put in 6 by Santa is a wine / burgundy kind of theme to it. And I mentioned in the intro to that project that I could see myself using all of the products together in kind of like a monotone, one color look. And I could also see myself mixing and matching these products in with the other products I'm currently project panning. And I had a request to demonstrate how I do a monotone look. So here it is. I figured I could also give you some quick recaps as to what the heck has been going on with my life, because I have not done a get ready with me in so long. Unfortunately, get ready with me's are do not have the best payoff. It's like double the work for half the views. So it's kind of discouraging to do get ready with me's. I know that a lot of people who love watching them really love watching them and are, you know, faithful and consistent, and I can count on you to watch them, but I just don't draw a big crowd with these videos, and they are literally 2 to 3 times more work than my regular like project pan update videos. So I don't film these very often. Plus, I don't have time to film them very often. It seems crazy because I'm getting ready every day either way, but it takes time. So yeah. Anyways, it was requested and today is my last weekday before I go back to work. So I thought better get on it and get this filmed, because you go back to work on Monday, Paula, and then it's crazy time. So what I already have on my face is foundation, bronzer. I don't have blush. I don't have highlight. I've kind of prepped my eyes with my like under eye corrector, my highlighting pencil, which is just like a matte pencil, and I put primer on. I've done my brows, and that's about it. I think I'm trying to decide if I want to start out with blush or finish with blush. Sometimes normally I do blush before I do eye makeup, but this is such a pigmented blush. I'm talking about this guy right here. I did use this once, and it's not as pigmented or as dark as I thought it would be, but it's pigmented and it is dark. This is Your Love is King. Yeah, the shade Your Love is King from Too Faced. You know what? I already have it here, so let's just go for it. The way I put it on the last time was kind of like high up and back. So maybe I'll try that again rather than like attacking the apples of my cheeks like I normally do with blush. I'm gonna start very light-handed. Oh, I was gonna scoot you guys in a little bit too, because what kind of get ready with me is way back there. I'm probably gonna go ham and then regret it. So this week has been a beautiful lull of life where there's no swimming going on, there's no work, there's no school. And what have I been doing? Napping on the couch. It's like literally all I've been doing is napping on the couch all week long. I'm so disgusted with myself. We did go to the this place called the Quarry. I think I'm gonna stop there. If I need to add more later, I will. We did go to this place called the Quarry, which is about an hour and a little over an hour away from where we live. It's way up northwest we're in the south suburbs of Chicago. This is in the northwestern suburbs of Chicago. But it was so much fun. It was like a little beach in a quarry. And it was great. The kids had a blast. For highlighter, I'm just gonna use my Revlon eyeshadow single that's been in projects for 2 years now. I don't know why I'm still messing around with this eyeshadow, but it's actually a really nice face highlight, and I wanted to use it as a brow bone highlight today too. So I just grabbed this for one and done. I have highlighters that do not make good brow bone highlights, and I have brow bone highlights that do not make good face highlights, but this one can do both. So if you don't know, my kids are both swimmers. My son was the original swimmer, and now my daughter is also a swimmer. They're 9 and 11. And our whole life revolves around swimming. I'm gonna use that same highlighter on my brow bone. Going for subtle. Going for subtle. It is an unbelievable time suck, but it's very rewarding. And the season, there's basically 2 seasons in swimming. There's spring, summer, and then there's fall, winter. So it's basically like a 5-month commitment for each season. And my rule as a mom is you don't have to do any of this. If you don't want to swim and you don't want to sign up, you don't have to. This isn't for me. I'm not getting anything out of this. I would much rather sit at home and have hundreds of dollars sitting in my bank account than sitting in bleachers and spend all this money for something you don't want to do. But if you want to do it, I will do it. I will sign you up for it, and you will swim the entire season. You're committed for the season. There's no quitting mid-season. And this has been going on for years. And they're very good swimmers. They've both come a long way. The next product I'm going to grab is this ColourPop Super Shock Shadow Single in the shade K-Pop Beverly. It's kind of like a burgundy shade like all the products, and it's dry. So I've never tried this on my eyes. I've only swatched it with my fingers, but I'm going to try and pick it up with this ColourPop. I think this is a ColourPop brush, but I've been using this with my ColourPop wattles and it's been working pretty well. So this could be a disaster. I don't know. This might be an absolute disaster, but I'm going to try and get this on my eyeballs as kind of like outer corner crease shade. Oh, it seems to be picking up product. Okay. So in swimming, in swim club swimming, there are certain levels of swimming. So there are kids that are conference level swimmers, meaning they are good enough to swim at a conference. There are kids that are regional swimmers, meaning they swim fast enough to qualify for regionals. And then there are kids that are state swimmers, meaning they've made the cut to swim at state, which means you have to have a pretty fast time. And there's different events. You guys know there's freestyle, backstroke, breaststroke, and butterfly. So there's 4 different strokes, and there's different events within each stroke. There's like little sprints, and then there's more longer distance, especially with freestyle. There's a lot more options in freestyle than any other stroke, especially for like long distance swimming. And my son is stronger with long distance swimming, although he's pretty good at sprinting too. But my son at this point is a state qualifying swimmer. So he goes to state every season and swims at state because he's got times fast enough to qualify to swim at state. My daughter this season became a regional qualified swimmer. So she's a step below him. And every year you have to make a new cut for your age. So both my kids are about to age up. My daughter's gonna turn 10 in November, and my son's gonna turn 12 in September, excuse me. And so they both need to like level up every year. So we'll see if Hazel can stay in the regional qualifications or if she drops back down. I'm not too worried about Ron. He already has some cuts for 12-year-old, even though he's not 12 yet. So he'll be okay. But yeah, it is an unbelievable amount of time. State just happened a couple weeks ago. And then usually state is like the finale of the season. Once Ron goes to state, the season is over. But we had an option to do an outdoor event called an open water state competition, which my son and 3 of his teammates qualified to swim. And so they did that for the first time this year. And it was a very long distance swim. It was a 2-kilometer race, which is over 4 times longer than any other race he's ever competed in before. And it's in a lake. So you cannot see where you're going. There's no lane lines. There's no starting blocks. There's no walls to turn off of. You're just out in a lake swimming around. And he did so good. It was his first time. His attitude was, I just want to go and have fun. I just want to, be out at a beach for the day and swim and not worry about winning. And he ended up getting 8th place overall for 11 and 12-year-old boys, which was so amazing. It was so good. So that was just this past Tuesday. All right, for my lid shade, I'm gonna go into the Zodiac palette, and the shadow I picked for my, oh, come on, the magnet is so strong I can barely get it open. The shadow I picked for my project is this one right here, the Baked Matte for Libra, and I was so impressed with the swatch, but I've never used the shadow on my eye before, and it has a good mirror, so I should really be using this mirror. Let me see. I'm really pleasantly surprised with how that ColourPop Super Shock shadow worked out on my eyelids. It was so dry, and I was really worried I wasn't going to be able to pick up any product or it wouldn't blend, and I picked up plenty of product and it blended out beautifully. I can't believe how nice that old dried out Super Shock shadow worked for me. So yeah, This week has been our first week off of swimming, and I've just been napping on the couch nonstop. It's very frustrating. Very frustrated with myself. So I go back to work on Monday. It's meeting week. There's no kids yet. I just have to sit in a chair and listen to somebody talk about things I've heard people talk about every week, every first week of school for 20 years, 25 years. This is going to be my 25th year. This is going to be my 25th year at my job. 9 more years and I can retire. I don't know if I'm happy about that or sad about that. Close to retirement, but I'm old. So I guess that's the good and bad of it. I'm just making a mess now. I gotta stop. Went too far over here, went too far over here. All right, I'm gonna put it away. Beautiful, beautiful shadow. It is very monochrome. I can't really tell where one shadow stops and the other one starts, but I'm gonna grab that ColourPop brush and blend it one more time. It looks pretty blended out to me, but I definitely think I need an inner corner highlight too. I guess I'll go back in with the Revlon single shadow and put that in. There's a bunch of other stuff going on in my life. So the next thing going on in my life is that I found out that I have gallstones. I'm sure there's a couple of you that are familiar with this lovely sensation of a gallstone attack or a gallbladder attack, but it's not lovely at all. I'm being sarcastic. It is horrible and painful. I didn't put anything on my lower lash line. Do I want to? Probably. Gallstones are horrible. I had no idea what was wrong with me. My brain, the way my brain works is I assume I'm dying of cancer. So anytime something goes wrong, my first thought is great. I'm dying of cancer. I can't help it. When I tell people I think that, they go, oh, you don't do that. Well, of course I do. What am I supposed to think? Like, I'm not thinking this is probably harmless, but basically a year ago, last summer, I woke up in the middle of the night with a horrible stomach ache, and I started pacing the floors because there was no way I was gonna lay back down and go back to sleep. And after about 3 hours of pacing the floors, I threw up everything that was ever inside of my body. It took me like 6 times to throw up until I was throwing up bile. And then my stomach ache went away and I went back to sleep. And then like 2 months later, the same thing happened again. And I thought, that's weird. There must be something in my fridge that's making me sick. So I cleaned out my fridge. And then when it happened again a couple months later, I thought, it must be something I'm eating that's irritating my stomach. So I switched my diet around and I looked closely at every drop of food I'm putting in my body. And I started scrutinizing all that. And I thought, nope, it's still happening. And at this point, it's happening with more frequency. So like it went from every 2 months to every month to like every 3 weeks to every 2 weeks. And by 2025, like January of 2025, I am throwing up like twice a week. And the stomach aches are starting earlier and earlier in the day. So at first the stomach aches were waking me up at like midnight. But at this point, the stomach aches are sometimes starting as early as 4 or 5 in the afternoon and going until like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And then finally at like 11 o'clock at night, when I just have just about worn myself out, I throw everything up and then I can go to sleep. It's just not very conducive to a healthy lifestyle. And it kept getting worse until I finally had a doctor's appointment in May. I didn't even have a doctor. I haven't had a doctor since before COVID. The doctor I was seeing retired in 2021, I think. And I never got a new one. So I haven't had a doctor for years. And so I had to get a doctor and then I had to go to the doctor. And it just so happened that the week before that appointment, I was out to eat with some friends from high school, one of them who happens to be an OR doctor. And I told her what my symptoms were and she's like, I think you have gallstones. And I was like, huh. And I Googled gallstones and a lot of the symptoms were similar to what I was experiencing. And I thought, okay, so when I walk into this doctor's appointment a couple days later, I'm assuming she's going to tell me that I have gallstones, but I didn't hand feed her that information because I was testing her, as we all do with our new doctors. And she's like, I'm going to refer you to a GI doctor. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I just, I'm not surprised. She's just a general physician. I'm going to just use this black eyeliner. Look how big this thing still is. It's the same size. I haven't sharpened it once. It's been in a project for over a month now. I don't think I'm going to put anything on my lower lash line because, one, I didn't bring anything out here and I'd have to run back to the bathroom and grab a brush. And two, I just really haven't been putting on anything on my lower lash line at all anyways, so I'm not used to doing a whole lower lash line look. So I go to this doctor. She's going to refer me to the GI doctor, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. So finally, as she's like getting ready to walk out of the room, I'm like, like, in your professional opinion, like, do you think I have cancer? She's like, no, I don't think you have cancer, but I want you to come in and do some blood tests and we'll see what those say. But no, the symptoms you're experiencing do not sound like cancer. So that was great to hear. And so then I said, do you think it could be gallstones? And she's like, no, I don't think it's gallstones either. And I was like, really? So then I spill. I'm like, I have a friend who's an OR doctor and she thinks it's gallstones. And she's like, no, I don't think it's gallstones. And the reason I don't think it's gallstones is that, one, gallbladder attacks usually happen like 30 minutes after eating a meal, and you're experiencing pain like 3 to 4 hours after eating a meal. But also your pain is very generalized. Like I was having, my stomach aches were all over the place, all the way from like feeling like gas bubbles in my back and my shoulder to like burning sensations in my abdomen. My stomach was hurting. Sometimes it was a little bit on the right where my gallbladder would be. Other times it wasn't. I gotta go back to the bathroom anyways. I forgot mascara. And so she basically ruled it out for me, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's not gallstones. So I finally go to the GI doctor a month later, and he's like, I think it's gallstones. Like, great. Well, the only way to confirm whether or not it's gallstones is an ultrasound. And so I had an ultrasound and they confirmed it's gallstones. So basically, I did not have to have my gallbladder removed yet. I still have my gallbladder intact. I had to completely change around everything I do with my lifestyle. I have to exercise more. I have to eat healthier, which are things that I probably should have been doing all along anyways. And I'm aware I was not taking the best of care of myself. But this kind of forced my hand, and I've been trying to. My pain is now gone. I have not thrown up in probably 3 months. The stomach aches are gone. I managed to turn it completely around just with lifestyle changes. But they said if I ever do have another gallbladder attack, their recommendation would be to have it removed at that point. So I'm glad that I didn't have to have surgery. But as a result, I did lose about 26 pounds just from lifestyle changes. I go on walks late at night. It's my favorite thing to do. I'm going to be so sad because once I go back to work next week, it's going to be almost impossible to do it. But one of my favorite things to do in the summers is to fall asleep at my regular time that I like to fall asleep, sometimes even earlier, like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm like dozing on the couch. And then I wake up kind of on my own at like 10:30 or 11. And I go outside and I just start wandering around the neighborhood. And I love it. I have so much fun doing that. And sometimes I don't get back home till like 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. And I walk, a few miles, and sometimes up to like 3.5 miles. And I'm trying to get 10,000 steps a day in. So I can usually close all my rings on my Apple Watch and then get my 10,000 steps in. So that's what I've been doing as far as exercise. And then I've been eating a lot of spinach. I got rid of all coffee. I'm not drinking any caffeine at this point, which is why aside with the addition of the late night walks and zero caffeine, I'm napping constantly during the day. And I'm not drinking, I used to love bubbly water like LaCroix or, that kind of thing. And I'm just drinking regular water, not carbonated. So just plain water, and that's it. That's all I drink. And I eat a lot of spinach. And I cut out pretty much all red meat. I'm not really eating any red meat at this point. They wanted me, the specific recommendations for gallbladder issues are no fried foods and eat low fat foods. So that's what I really need to avoid. But I don't feel like I was eating a lot of fried foods before this. And so I figured, I could cut out red meat and go to like chicken and stuff like that. But I was forced into a lifestyle change I probably would have never had otherwise. I'm grateful that I lost some weight. I was overweight. I'm still overweight, but I figured the least I could do is try and keep off the weight that I lost from throwing up every night. That was not fun, but the perk was I lost about 25, 26 pounds. So I should at least try to keep it off through lifestyle changes. And so far I've been keeping it off, but I haven't really lost much more weight since my stomach aches went away, because now I can eat and the consequences aren't as immediate. Like when there's an immediate consequence to something, I respond. But when there is no immediate consequence, I'm like, it's fine. It's no big deal. Let me go get mascara and the lip liner, because I brought out a lip liner, but it's the wrong one. I can't believe it, but I cannot find my lip liner anywhere. I've been looking for like 10 minutes. It is MIA. I went ahead and grabbed another lip liner that is not in a project from my office just to get through this look, because I could be here for the next 5 hours looking for it and not find it. And I don't want to scrap this video, but I cannot believe it. The lip liner is MIA, and I have used it like 3 times since starting this project. It must be on the ground somewhere. This is a perfect example of the mess that I am in right now in life and the place that I'm at. I'm just kind of a mess. But for mascara, I'm just going to use these two. I haven't used my Essence lash primer in so long, but I like this Benefit Bounce mascara. I love the wand, but this is not buildable. I just cannot get as much volume as I would like from this mascara, so I have been pairing it with the primer, which I haven't used in forever, but I've been so glad to have it again. So I'm going to put these two on my eyelashes next, and then we'll do the lips. So I think I kind of summed up what I've been up to in this Get Ready With Me. It's great. It's good and bad. Having health issues stinks. I think I mentioned a while back that my mom fell and broke her leg back in February, and she just never really recovered from that. She is still bedbound, which just breaks my heart. At this point, the only thing she can do independently is feed herself. She is dependent on somebody for every other aspect of her life. So my dad, who's 87, and her are still together and in the same house, and my dad's alive and my mom's alive. My mom's 84. But my dad cannot be her caregiver, obviously. So we had to hire a caregiver who comes Monday through Friday from 9 to 7. And then my brother, who is also an occupational therapist and lives in an hour away from her, drives down every weekend, and he is her caregiver on Saturday and Sunday, and his wife helps out immensely. She is a caregiver by profession. She's a professional caregiver. And she works Monday through Friday too. So she comes down with him often and takes care of my mom. And the two of them, they don't have kids, so they are there on Saturdays and Sundays to take care of her, which obviously I'm immensely grateful for all of their support and help. There's just no way I could have done this. You know, I as her only daughter, I feel like I should be her caregiver, but I'm also the only one with children and a busy schedule, and I work full time, even though I'm off during the summers. I do have a full-time job, and I'm just not in a position in my life to be her caregiver, and I'm just so grateful that my brother and sister-in-law have been helping out. It's really hard to watch my mom go through this. But she just wasn't able to rehab from breaking her leg. She just never, you know, and now it's coming on February, March, April, May, June, July, August. It's been over 7 months now, you know. I mean, it's not a good outlook for her progression. Probably what we're seeing at this point is what we're gonna get. And that is, I don't know if my dad has come to terms with that at all. I think he's still hoping for her to continue rehabilitating, and I really don't know what my mom thinks about any of it. I don't know where her head is at. I mean, she's always been very practical. Like, I'll do what I gotta do. So she just kind of goes with the flow, but I know that it's gotta be hard for her. All right, this is, okay, this is not in this project. This is the Revlon Color Stay Lip Liner in Wines. Both of them were named Wine. This is probably a 30-year-old lip liner that I bought in high school. Is it dry as dust? Does it even work? I think there's something coming up. When I was in my teens and 20s and even my 30s, I saw no point in a lip liner whatsoever, but by your late 40s, there is an appreciation for a lip liner. I very rarely go a day without using a lip liner. I spent most of my life thinking this was a completely unnecessary step. But something happens to your lips in your late 40s and they just kind of disappear. I don't know if they actually lighten in pigmentation, but yeah, I'm still not getting a deep wine payoff, but I'm getting enough of a payoff to feel like it's lining my lips. No wines, but it's actually a really nice color. I should put this in a project pan. Yeah, I'm not able to get that deep wine color payoff, but I am getting enough to line my lips. All right, we're just gonna move on with our lives because I cannot believe I can't find this lip liner. All right, the final item is my Devil's Food Cake Butter Gloss from NYX. And I'm gonna finish this look with this. And then I'm gonna debate on whether or not I should put more blush on. Oh, okay, what am I doing without a mirror here? I feel like I'm painting my face. I've done worse. Wow. Okay, so what do we think? Should I leave well enough alone or should I just drown myself in deep, deep blush? I think you're all screaming go for it at me through the screen, so why not? Oh, we're getting there. Should I do a little bit up here? We definitely stepped it up a notch. That's for sure. All right, I think that's it. I'm cutting myself off. All right, hair still looks crazy. It is 90 degrees outside, but it feels like 100. I don't know why, it is so muggy. I do have the air conditioning on inside. I finally gave up this morning and turned it on, but I'm still sweating like crazy. So I'm not gonna bring my hair back down, but this is the finished monochromatic burgundy wine look using most of the products from my 6 by Santa, except for the lip liner, which I cannot find. That's gonna drive me crazy. It will turn up eventually. It didn't leave the house and walk away. It's here somewhere. I will find it. But yeah, I could absolutely see myself, I still can see myself mixing and matching all these products with other products I'm currently project panning, but I do like a good monochromatic look. This is really fun and pretty. I didn't know what shirt to wear, so I have on this like summery pink top, but with it being as hot as it is today, I wasn't up for like digging out some fall burgundy sweater, but I could definitely see myself wearing this with a, nice deep rose, wine colored shirt and just going all out on the burgundy wine shades and just that's the whole look. I could totally see it. This was so much fun to do, even though my life is crazy and I'm talking about things like gallbladder attacks and my poor mother. I'm really glad I sat down and filmed this quick little get ready with me. Thank you guys. If you're watching this, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.